Arrest-proof yourself. An ex-cop reveals how easy it is for anyone to get arrested. Even a single arrest could ruin your life. And what to do if the police get in your face, by Dale Carson and Wes Denham. Now the main point is, if the cops can't see you, they can't arrest you. The book's written by a former FBI agent who also worked as a cop and now is a criminal defense attorney. And it's obviously aimed at the American police system. One of the main points is that now the American system has an electronic record, which means that even a minor misdemeanor that you perhaps were charged for and not prosecuted can potentially ruin your life. So how can you avoid it? Well, that's the purpose of this book. Let's start off by just outlining that jail is prior to getting charged for something, prison is after you're charged. And many minor misdemeanors become actually something that would put you away from how people act. So if, for example, you lie to the police, or if you run away from them or even touch them, that can escalate a very minor charge to something that could actually be a felony charge, which would potentially ruin you, having to pay expensive lawyers, fees, and potentially getting put in prison for a long time. So really, you've got a lot to lose here, and it's worth thinking about this. So if a cop speaks to you, remember two things. Firstly, you actually owe no duty to them to tell them and help them arrest you. Also, even if you're blatantly guilty, the point is you still have rights. So most arrests, as I've alluded to, really have add-on charges, and the police in America would do this because seemingly they're very much score system based, in that if somebody gets somebody for one charge and an assault on a law enforcement officer and perhaps running away, that would score them more points and give them a higher chance of a promotion. And really, cops are visual predators who drive around looking to make arrests. So if it's a quiet day, they may look, let's look at the most commonly stolen car, drive up behind, put the lights on a second. If it's a normal citizen going day to day, they'll pull over. If it's somebody who's just stolen that car, they may accelerate away, leading to a chase, a bit of excitement for the cop as well. Now, the main cause of being arrested in America is actually possessing drugs, either in person or in their car. So the other point is really keep your drugs at home, right? Keep your drugs at home. If you are being interviewed or spoken to by the police, really just say your name, basic information, and then keep quiet. Do not give a nickname. If you said, my name's Bones, for example, they'll tag you as being called Bones, and then when some fool called Bones gets committed or is a suspect in a crime, they'll come knocking at your door. Really, cluelessness is the way people would get arrested, and that sometimes, if it affects all classes, it's not just a racial or ethnic thing. It is simply that people are doing things in the open that perhaps would be best done either not at all or behind closed doors. So really, this doesn't paint the cops in a good light, this book. It's suggesting that they will often mutter insults that may be perhaps racist under their voice, so that to try and get a reaction from you. If they whisper an insult and it makes you react, then it's only you who's going to lose here. If you want, you could try and sue them with your lawyer on another day. When they're interacting with you, keep the interaction short and get out as soon as you can when they let you. So don't be clueless. Some of the things are, if you've got, say, a tax outstanding on your car, or a fine, or you've got a court appearance, you need to attend or pay it. If you don't, it will escalate, and then it may come down to hit you more. It has a really interesting bit about how to stand when police are actually speaking to you. Stand straight And actually, it says to grab your sides like that. Don't put your hands in the pocket, because you could be potentially reaching for a weapon. It even says to shut your eyes and close your mouth so that the spit doesn't get into you. Be absolutely silent and don't react. Don't let them get to you. Basically, for about 5 minutes in your life, you need to be acting like a polite middle-class person. And be aware they will be trying to get you provoked. You've got nothing to gain by interacting with them. So how do they decide who to pick up? Well, first point is if they can see you. So if they can't see you, they're not really going to be in a position to arrest you. And this goes with certain crimes such as drugs. If somebody's on the street taking drugs and the police go by, they can see you. If, however, there's a white-collar criminal also doing illegal activity, all they'll see is a guy with a laptop and a briefcase. They could even be in the same coffee shop and they wouldn't know what they're doing. So do not be committing crime, firstly, of course, but don't do it visibly. Second, it's if you meet a crook profile. Now that's somebody who may have socks on their hands because they've used it to try and cover their fingerprints and they've just robbed somebody. It could be somebody carrying a TV or a pillowcase full of stuff. I mean, who carries a TV these days? You get it delivered, right? Now, there's this incongruous concept, which is basically meaning out of place. If you're acting with incongruity, then it means that somebody is doing something that isn't like they're meant or expecting to do. So usually you'd see somebody walking down the road. Unusually, you'd think that person's maybe a bit unusual. Maybe you'd avoid them, maybe you wouldn't. The cops are different. They are curious predators, so they will go and interact with you. So, for example, if they see somebody who's a runner, but not dressed in any running gear, it doesn't look quite right, they'll go and they'll perhaps try and intercept you. If you saw me dressed like this in a business district, then they may think, what's that guy up to? Or if he's got a really nice car and you're driving in a very poor part of town, again, it may attract their attention. However, at the same point, if I was in my business district dressed like this, the police would be very unlikely to bat an eyelid. So, there's several things to watch out for. Remember to avoid the police as much as you can. What do you do if you see a police person? They're visual predators, so keep doing whatever you're doing and don't suddenly change. So for example, if I was walking down the street, I saw the police and suddenly turned the other way and ran, that would catch their attention. If they're behind you in your car, perhaps glance at them in the mirror, but don't be looking too obviously. Keep doing what you're doing. The only exception is if there's an active crime scene that they're investigating in some way. Don't be a clueless person and go and interact with them unnecessarily. This would either make you appear like a potential suspect, maybe murderers return to the scene of crime and get some kind of kick out of seeing an investigation. And the second thing is, more importantly perhaps, so you don't want to appear like you're a gross. If the people who have done this crime see you speaking with the police, they may think that you're in some way helping them. So really, avoid these people as much as you can. If an officer speaks to you and says, come over here, what do you do? Just say, officer, have I done something wrong? Then say no more. Also, a nice one is to say, if the police see you hiding in a bush, they'll ask you what you're doing, just say that you're afraid of the police. So, it's an interesting book. Look at it in more detail. Hopefully that's not been overly helpful, but feel free to comment, like and subscribe, and I shall see you all next time. Cheers.